Hello, my name is Lillian Okibe. Welcome to my channel. Every time I go on Instagram, I always see at least one or two before and afters of locticians retwisting people's hair, and it's always like I'm very sure that if this person continues like this in the next few months, or at least in the next few years, the person is going to end up with alopecia, you know. And I just feel like I should make a video about it. So in this video, we're going to be talking all about retwisting, and I'm going to be reacting to retwist pictures on Instagram. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then please keep on watching. The plan for this video is I want to show you guys like what a bad retwist looks like, right, and what a good retwist looks like. But I should also say that 99 times out of 10, like almost every time I see retweet pictures on Instagram, there's usually something that is a problem. Like either too much product was used, or like the retweet was done too tight, or like different things like that, right? So this is going to be, I hope I find like good example of nice retwist. Right, but let's just go ahead and start the video. So I have my phone here, and I'm going to be looking at the pictures from my phone. The first picture we're going to be seeing today is this one. You can tell that the person has like a really full head of hair. From the look of things, the person's locks are not really mature, probably within the first year, and this guy has really thick, healthy, luscious locks. And if you see the retwist, I feel like this was done really nicely. Like the person that did this did a really good job. And one of the things I noticed is that for many people that have like thick luscious locks, most times when I see all these before and afters on Instagram, you see someone with thick, rich, healthy, luscious locks, and you know, from the before picture you can see that this person has really thick hair, and then when the loctician ends up, you know, retwisting their hair, you can barely see no hair. Like all you see is scalp everywhere. So this particular work, I feel like the person did a really nice job, because yes, you can still see that the locks are pretty neat and like pretty put together and everything like that, but you can still tell that the person has thick hair even after the retwist. And I feel like I like this. So contrary to what many of you guys think, I'm not against retwist. Like I'm not against people retwisting their hair, but I'm against people retwisting wrongly. So I feel like this was done nicely. From the look of things, you can't really see any product residue, so I don't think products were used. Even if products were used, they were like really minimal product. Like not, the loctician did not use a lot of products. I may be wrong, but from what I can see, like it looks like I can't see any product residue, so that's a nice thing. And the parts are really neat and clean, and then you can still tell that the person has a lot of hair. So this is actually a yes for me. And you can also see that it's not tight. Like you can't see any rough, like any high tension anywhere. So I really like this work. Now let's move on to the next work. So about this one now, I feel like this person came this close to actually doing an amazing job. I like the fact that the retwist wasn't done too tight. You guys can see, like you can't really see any like harsh tension around the scalp. Like the retwist was not done too tight. Obviously the person has, you know, a lot of hair and everything like that, but the problem I see with this particular work is I feel like I can see a little bit of product residue in the locks. And the thing about when you go to get your locks done, if on the first, like from when you're just stepping out of the salon, or like the loctician, from the loctician's place, you can see product residue. That's a sign that if you continue like that over time, you're going to have build up. So I can see some product residue in this. So this is a nice job because it was not done too tight, but the product residue is going to cause build up along the line. And from the look of this person's locks, I can tell that the person has probably had issues with build up before, because if you see like the older locks, you can see a tint of like, you know, build up, but it's not really that bad. And I feel like that's probably one of the reasons why the person dyed their locks brown, because like what I've noticed is that many people who get their locks dyed brown, like people dye their locks brown just because they want the look of, you know, brown hair or brown locks. But there are certain people that dye their locks brown. They do it because like their locks start to look weird because of product residue, because of product buildup or lint, that's why they go ahead to dye their locks brown. But yeah, so this came close. This should actually be really nice, but I can see product residue, and that can cause buildup along the line. Now let's move on to the next one. This one is actually also very nice. You can see that the loctician did a really nice job. It's pretty neat. It was not done too tight, but you can see the gel that was used. You can see the residue of the gel that was used to retwist the person's hair, and this will eventually cause build-up along the line. And I think the loctician used like a black gel, so because of the gel is black, it's not really obvious, but if you look closely, you can see the build-up in the person's hair, like the build-up of the residue of gel basically in the person's locks. And even though this looks neat, and I feel like many locticians do this, they use gels and stuff and products because all what they are concerned about is having the picture perfect look for their Instagram, so that they eventually get more customers. And even though I feel like, okay, I understand that, but I just feel like the health of your client's locks should be more important to you than having perfect pictures for Instagram. So all these products that they use, especially all these gels and stuff, yes, in the moment when you go to get your locks done and then you use gel to retwist your locks, it's going to look much nicer. It will most likely look much nicer than if you use if you don't use a lot of products, if you use just oil and water or anything like that, right? But along the line, that will end up resulting in build up in your locks. So I do not recommend it. So if you're a loctician and someone that likes to use gels to retwist, please tell them to stay away from that, right? Because in the moment it may look really, really nice, but after a while it may cause more damage, to your locks. So now let's move on to the next picture. Oh my goodness, like this is really, really bad. Like can you guys see? You can see that this person's scalp is sore. Like you can see that this person's scalp is sore. I can see some redness on the scalp, and apart from that, you can see that this retwist was done too tight. Like this is what we are talking about when we say don't retwist your locks too tight. This is horrible. And you can tell that this person doesn't even have a lot of hair to begin with. Like the person's hair is more on the fine side, right? And then this loctician went ahead to over twist it, and it's so tight on the scalp. And the problem with this is that the person already has fine hair, and then you're going ahead to make the retwist so tight to uproot the hair that the person already has. Like this is wickedness. I can tell that this person is not going to be able to sleep for the next few days, because this is really, really tight. Apart from the fact that it's tight on the roots, like you can see the tension on the scalp, it was also like the length of the locks was also retwisted too tight. Like you can see how skinny the locks are. This person obviously has looks like the person has like fine hair or hair that is not so dense, right? But that said, this person's hair is actually supposed to look way thicker than this. But because the loctician twisted too tight, even the length of the locks, the loctician twisted too tight, you can see that it looks like the person has no hair, but that's not true. And that's one of the reasons why I keep telling you guys that you should not be retwisting your locks too tight. Like if this person continues like this, after a while they will have no hair. Like really try, they will have no hair. Then another problem I can see is that obviously because the loctician twisted too tight, to help with the soreness on the scalp, the person went ahead to put a lot of oil on the scalp. And now the problem with this is that when your hair is oily, when your locks are oily, your locks will attract more lint, and then so you're having issues that it was done too tight, you're experiencing pain. Because it's done too tight, you are at the risk of losing locks and losing hair strands in your locks, and eventually making your locks thinner. And now this person this loctician went ahead to put more oils on the hair and probably gel too, right? So the person is prone to having build up along the line, and also the person is prone to having lint because there's a lot of oil on the person's locks, and that will attract more lint. So this is a no. Like everything about this particular work was done really bad. Like Now this is the kind of loctician that you people should run away from. Seriously, like this is the kind of person you guys should run away from. So let's move on to the next picture. Oof. Oh my god, like this is another bad work. Like this, it looks really neat, right? But you guys can see like the back, like the neck area. Like this person, obviously for the next probably a week or so, this person will not be able to bend their head down. Like it's so tight, it's so tight, and really and you guys can see the building up like at the base of the hair. So the retwist was done tight. This is going to be so uncomfortable, so painful for the wearer, and then you guys can see from the product residue, there's a chance that this person is going to end up with build up along the line. Like this is another loctician that I say you guys should stay away from. Like really, this is another example of bad loctician. Stay away from this kind of loctician. Like this is I can almost see the hair follicles. Like I feel like I can see the hair follicles coming out. This is the kind of retwist you do that after like a few days you start to see those like white bulbs at the base of your hair. Like when you retwist your locks and then you see, or even if you don't have locks, like when you do any style whatsoever, and then after a few days you start to see those white bulbs at the base of your hair, that's a sign that the style was done too tight, and you should take it down as soon as possible and try and probably run away from whoever did that style for you. Like this is bad. Like this is really bad. I don't even understand how people comfortably sit down and allow people to do such like tight work on their heads. Like now the next picture, what do I say now? This is an example of a work that was done. It's kind of done nicely, but he missed it at a spot. Like I like how the person retwisted the hair in such a way that the base is not so tight. Like this person will obviously not have any issues with like traction alopecia, because you can see that the root of the hair wasn't twisted too tight, but you can see the length of the twist. If you compare like the part of the hair that has already been retwisted, if you compare that to the older part of the hair, you'd see, if you check the base, you see that this person's locks are not baby locks. Like this person's locks are mature. So if you check that to the other part, you can see that even though the base of the locks wasn't done too tight, you can see the length of the locks, it was twisted too much. Like I feel like this person's hair has the capacity to be thicker than this. I feel like it was twisted. The root was not twisted as tight, right? But I feel like the length of the locks was twisted too tight. So if this person continues with this loctician, the person's locks will not grow to be as thick as it can possibly be, because I feel like this loctician goes overboard with like making sure that the length of the locks are like completely smooth and perfect and like twisted even down, way down to where you don't really need that. So I feel like I like the way the base is, that in fact that it's not too tight, but the length of the locks was twisted too tight, and I don't recommend that. Compare that to the previous one I showed you guys, where the root was done too tight, but you can see the length of the locks wasn't twisted too tight, and you know, I like that, but the base was too tight. So another thing I want to say about this particular one is that you guys can see the product residue. So this person will most likely have build up somewhere along the line if the person continues like this. Now let's move on to the next. This is another example of build up. You can see the edges. Like I don't know what gel was used. It was probably edge control that was used around the edges. You guys can obviously see the white build up and the white flakes, even though like this is freshly done, right? This person is going to have flake galore after a few days, right? And then this person is also going to be prone to having some build up. But I like the fact that the base wasn't twisted too tight. But this is another example of when the length of the locks, you know, is over twisted. I feel like it was the length of the locks is over twisted. So if this person continues with this loctician, their locks will not be as thick as possible. It's going to end up more on the skinny side. So now let's move on to the next. Now this particular one, I actually love this work. I like this work. I like the fact that it was not done too tight. I like the fact that the length of the locks, you can see that the locks are actually neat and it was actually twisted, but it wasn't done too tight, both the root and the length of the locks. But the problem I have with this particular work is that you guys can obviously see the product residue. Obviously black gel, it looks like black gel was used to retwist this particular hair, so you can see the residue, and this will eventually cause build up. I don't know why. It's actually very difficult to find work on Instagram that has no build up, or that has no potential of having build up along the line. Like, it's actually really rare. It's quite unfortunate, and that's why many people end up with build up and like dirty looking locks, right? And it's really not their fault. It's not the fact, it's not that they are dirty or that they don't wash their locks or anything like that, but it's because of bad locticians that layer product upon product and use all these gels and stuff that end up causing build up in their locks. So it's just so sad. Now let's move on to the next. This is another very nice work. I like how this was done. I like how neat the scalp is. Like, you know, all the parts are really neat and like really creative, right? But you can obviously see the product residue. You can see the gel that was used. This will cause build up along the line. Also, from the lock style, you can see that the length of the locks was actually twisted. I would not say it was twisted too tight, but it was actually twisted. Right, it was twisted, but I would not say it's too tight. But you guys can see the residue, and that is going to cause build up along the line. Not too bad. Now this one, you guys can see, like, this is when I talk about nice retwist and like really good retwist, this is what I am talking about. You guys can see that the hair is neat. It's still neat. It's not like it's not neat. You guys can see it's neat. You can see the parts are actually nice. You can see there's really no tension on the roots. This person will most likely not have like issues with headache and stuff. You guys can see no tension on the roots. You can see the length of the locks also. It wasn't over retwisted. I love this person's work. Like, this is actually perfect. Like, this is perfect. This is actually nice. I love the texture, the fact that yes, this person's hair was retwisted, right? But you can still see the texture of locks. You can still see the fluffiness and like the, you know, texture of the locks. I feel like, and I also like this style. I like the twist. I like the half up, half down thing going on. I feel like this is actually a really nice work. This is a really nice work. Now let's move on to the next one. This one this one is another very nice work, right? This is actually a really nice work. I like the fact that the locks were allowed to be free and be fluffy. Obviously this person hasn't been locked for that long, so the person's locks are not mature yet, and I like the fact that this loctician is allowing the person to enjoy the frizz. And actually, you know, and the thing about frizz is that the frizz actually helps to make your locks thicker. So I actually like the fact that this loctician is allowing the person's locks to form and get thick and, you know, get rich and bouncy and bubbly and all that. So this is actually an amazing work. This is a really nice work. I like the fact that the roots wasn't done too tight. You guys can obviously see no product residue, and I'm all for zero build up. Like, this person is going to end up with really thick, rich and luscious locks. This is the kind of loctician I encourage you guys to go to. Seriously. Now the thing about this kind of retwist is that they don't really last that long, and that's me being honest, and that is the norm. Like, it's not going to last that long because it wasn't done as tight, and also it wasn't done with products like those gels and stuff, so it's not going to last that long. But this is actually going to be better for your hair in the long run. You're going to have less issues with lint. You're going to have less issues with build up. You're going to have less issues with alopecia, traction alopecia and all that, and your locks are going to grow to be really thick and juicy and luscious. I love this work, and I like kudos to this particular loctician. I think we should just stop here. Let's stop here. But I hope from all these things you guys can tell what is a good build up, what is a good retwist, and what is a bad retwist, and what is like a you know, I feel some type of way about it. The purpose of making this video is not to bash anybody or to condemn any loctician or anything like that, but basically to enlighten you guys so that you guys know what to expect when you go to get what to expect and what you should demand of your loctician when you go to get your locks retwisted. If you guys want me to do a video on interlocking and how it should look and things like that, let me know down in the comment section. And I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if this is your first time on my channel and you like to see more videos from me, you like to see how my locks progress, I make so many videos about locks, and I also make videos about loose natural hair. So here and there, you know, I sprinkle some loose natural hair content here and there. So even if you have loose natural hair and you do not have locks, you're still going to find some of my content helpful. So go ahead and subscribe. Click the subscribe button down below. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next video.
It's time that we put out the fire. With every breath I breathe you out, we just can't take it any higher. It's only fair we let each other go without.